Good morning, chairpersons and fellow delegates. It's my privilege to welcome you to this 25th activity of Baroda Association of Plastic Surgeons. And in today's morning business meeting, we are talking about marketing. As you can read the title within Medical Council of India guidelines, it's a fluid situation because the Indian Medical Council Act of 1956 has been repealed recently and about this. Marketing, as you've been listening, is the whole business seen from the customer's point of view. We cannot actually differentiate advertising from marketing, but it's better to understand that advertising is just one tool of marketing, and marketing as a wholesome exercise has intentions of increasing usage of our services with a focus on creating existing a new market for our services, and based on our market building reputation about our services. So it is the identification of patients' needs, what do they require, what are their concepts of our services, and then fulfilling these needs in a manner which is profitable to both the users and the service provider. Basically, therefore, it is focus on patient, and this is achieved by a variety of activities which can be grouped under the heading marketing, and they can be broadly labeled as creating awareness, increasing and maintaining public relations, promoting our services, and of course keeping our services in the eyes of patient constantly, which we can prefer to call advertising. So with this brief background on what is marketing and where advertising stands in marketing, let me get through the entire exercise of marketing, which is about educating. Educating our potential patients with the goal of attracting them to our service. This education in the type of treatments that we offer and continue to motivate our patients to return regularly for our services. Well, the Medical Council of India Act has been replaced by National Medical Commission Act very recently. However, so far only few set of rules have been notified under the new National Medical Commission Act, and therefore the two major umbrella rules which govern our activities, namely the Code of Ethics of 2002 and the additional codes related to pharmaceutical companies notified in 2009, continue to govern till similar fresh set of rules will be notified under National Medical Commission Act sometime in the end of this year or maybe next year. So apart from the new National Medical Commission Act and the existing rules of Medical Council of India Act, there are several other laws which also govern our marketing activities. Prime among them is Drugs and Medical Remedies Act. Now when also a new Consumer Protection Act has been notified, we are waiting for the rules under it, but extensive weightage has been given to the activity of advertising under the Consumer Protection Act, and even penal actions can be started on somebody who endorses the product or service. So it's going to have very vast implications once we know what the rules are and what are the penal actions, because Consumer Protection Act, which is usually governing the consumer activities through district, state and national consumer fora, has now been identified as having the power similar to a criminal court, which is first time in the history of Indian legal scenario. But today we will concentrate mainly on the rules under the Medical Council of India Act, and that is where you have to be sure that all your marketing activities are within the framework of the rules which are. Foremost is the Indian Medical Council regulation of 2002, which is known as Rule on Professional Conduct, Etiquette and Ethics. And there are no direct mentions of marketing activities or advertising, but in a different wording which is usual with any legal jargon. Under chapter 6 of this ethics, there is a mention of advertising. Now when we read through the sub clauses, we will realize that it also continues to talk about other activities which are slightly different than just advertising, and therefore our entire gimmick of marketing activities will essentially be covered under this subset of rules. So the message here is that our marketing activities must not cross the boundaries which are currently laid down by chapter 6 clause 6.1 under this ethics regulations of 2002. Let me read this for you. It says that soliciting of patients directly or indirectly by a physician, by a group of physicians or by institutions or organizations is unethical. Now if we extrapolate this sentence of soliciting, then several of our current marketing activities will come under the question. Next it says a physician shall not make use of him or his name as subject of any form or manner of advertising or publicity through any mode. Now when these words any mode are present in the law, it also includes the newer modes which are related to internet. And then it says what is the character. A character as to invite attention to him or to his professional position, skill, qualification, achievements, attainments, specialties, appointments, associations, affiliations or honors. Which means when you see any activity related to marketing of our services where we specifically push upon our qualifications or our achievements, and if it is considered as soliciting, then it is an unethical act under the existing ethics regulation of 2002. So this entire subset which says that it results in the self-boasting is not to be undertaken by a registered medical graduate. The same subsection continues to say that a physician shall not give to any person, whether for compensation or otherwise, any approval, recommendation, endorsement, certificate, report or statement with respect to any drug, medicine, nostrum remedy, surgical or therapeutic article, apparatus or appliance, or any commercial product or article with respect of any property, quality or use thereof, or any test, demonstration or trial thereof, for use in connection with his name, signature or photograph in any form or manner of advertising through any mode, nor shall he boast of cases, operations, cures or remedies, or permit the publication of report thereof through any mode. Obviously we understand that publication of medical literature does not come under the purview of this subsection, but this is a very wide subsection and it actually governs lot of our marketing activities, wherein we allow our marketing team to visit the potential groups, kitty parties, female associations, etc., to boast of our activities in the services so far. Under this particular section only, and although the title is unethical acts, the provision is for allowing a medical practitioner to carry advertisements in press regarding these few situations, which are limited to starting a practice, change of type of practice, changing address, temporary absence from duty, resumption of other practice, succeeding to another practice, and public declaration of charges. So that means under the guise of these incidences, you can continue to advertise under lay press or maybe internet, but otherwise. The subsection 2 of section 6.1 talks about other form of publication, which is a printing of self photograph or any such material of publicity in the letterhead or signboard of the consulting room or any such clinical establishment is regarded as act of self advertisement and therefore unethical. However, printing of sketches, diagrams, pictures of human system are not treated as unethical and therefore they are considered as educational material and are permitted under this particular chapter in the 2002 rules. So you are aware that as a practicing and registered medical practitioner, you are not allowed to be a part of any advertisement, and there have been instances where registered medical graduates were barred from practice and their names were removed from the register, and therefore you will see that in certain such advertisement they will specify that a particular model is not practicing in India. In next chapter there is a clause which states that it is improper for a physician to use unusually large signboard and write on it anything other than his name, qualifications obtained from a university or a statutory body, titles and name of his specialty, registration number, including the name of state medical council. Now don't take a notion that this means it is necessary or mandatory to write registration number and state medical council name, etc. These are optional, but other than these things which are listed in this clause, nothing more can be written under the rules for signboards which are not of unusually large size. Therefore, the ongoing chapter clauses in 6 and 7 tell us that when we have so many pre-printed materials like letterheads, business cards, patient brochures, service related activities, appointment cards, direct mailing or emailing to patients or potential patients, we must make sure that they are not crossing the limits which are laid down under the foregoing sections. Same applies also to our prescription papers, because sometimes we have seen that the prescription papers or the letterheads have lot of materials printed on them which can be considered as unethical under these tools. Similarly, it is improper to affix a signboard on a chemist shop or in places where a practicing physician does not reside or does not work. So as a part of marketing activities, if your teams are visiting different places and then lay signboards or flexes or some such material there for longer period, that may be considered as unethical marketing activity. Now what therefore we can do is, maybe we can have pre-printed material related to our procedures or related to pre-procedure instructions or post-procedure instructions or home-going sheets, etc. These either may not be pre-printed in bulk, they are saved in our computer, and whenever the patient comes in or walks out, we give them, customizing with patient's name on all pages of that particular leaflet, or otherwise we have pre-printed material where there are special blank spaces for the patients and we definitely write down their name, maybe their unique identification number, etc., so that they are not considered as unethical marketing activity and will be considered as intended for the patient's understanding of the procedure and the instructions. So this is one safeguard which can be practiced by all of us while maintaining our educational material as a marketing tool. When we receive sometimes educational material from pharmaceutical industry which has been printed or manufactured or gathered by their research team, and sometimes they insist on printing our name on some of them and leave in our waiting room, etc. I am drawing your attention to another regulations which were notified in 2009, and the wordings are very clear, and it says maintaining professional autonomy in dealing with pharmaceutical and allied healthcare industry. We, a medical practitioner, shall always ensure that there shall never be any compromise either with our own professional autonomy or with the autonomy and freedom of medical institution where we are practicing. What I understand by this is that if a pharmaceutical company or the detailing person offers you to have such pre-printed leaflets to be kept in your waiting room, you can allow it, but asking them to omit the logo of that pharmaceutical company from the material if they insist on having your name on that material. Otherwise, don't print any name and just leave them as marketing activity, because most of the time it is a marketing activity for those pharmaceutical companies and their products rather than marketing activity for us as professionals in the cosmetic and aesthetic services. These therefore are the some sections which I find in existing 2002 and 2009 rules under the Medical Council of India Act. The new National Medical Commission Act is almost similar in wording so far as causes related to etiquette and ethics of a registered medical graduate are concerned, but rules are yet to come, and we'll only be able to come to know about their extent only when they are published and notified. But while we, I think, conclude on what all is written in Medical Council of India related rules, I must bring to your notice the advertisement sections which are appearing currently in some other acts and are equally important to our marketing activities. And why I am saying this is that very soon we will see extensive curb on advertising actions and endorsement through the new Consumer Protection Act. But right now, in the Drugs and Cosmetic Act, the cosmetic has been defined, and since this definition of cosmetic is not carried in other acts, the definition remains valid for our action. And since now we have started practicing non-surgical rejuvenation activities using lasers and other tools, this will come as attracted for our actions. So cosmetic here means any article which is intended to be rubbed, poured, sprinkled or sprayed, and therefore I feel that even laser is also considered as part of this activity, or introduced into or otherwise applied to the human body or any part thereof for cleansing, beautifying, promoting attractiveness or altering the appearance, and include any article intended for use as a component of cosmetic. So this is a very broad definition which will include all powders, creams, lotions, fluids and laser energy. Now why I am trying to bring out this definition to you is not for the DNC or Drugs and Cosmetics, but for the Drugs and Magic Remedies Act, which is mainly intended to remove objectionable advertisements from the platform of people at a large. And in the rules of this Drugs and Magic Remedies Act, the definition of advertisement is it includes any notice, circular, label, wrapper or other document and any announcement made orally or by any means of producing or transmitting light, sound or smoke. So this not only covers printed advertisements but advertisement and marketing by variety of means, and it has very wide. And in the rules of this Objectionable Advertisement Act, there is prohibition on advertisement of certain drugs for treatment of certain diseases and disorders. And one important sub rule B in this is that you cannot advertise for anything which is in relation to the maintenance or improvement of the capacity of human beings for sexual pleasure. And then in sub rule D, there is a huge list of almost 60 diseases and disorders, wherein serial number 21 is about form and structure of the female bust, about gangrene, leukoderma, obesity, sexual impotence, and stature of a person. So these disorders or conditions are such that you cannot advertise about the means of diagnosis, the means of cure, reducing their action or mitigation, treatment or prevention under the Objectionable Advertisement or Prevention of Objectionable Advertisement Act. And therefore it is a real red light. Red light so far as it is written in the books of law. But actually what is happening is that although the Drugs and Magic Remedies Objectionable Advertisement Act 1954, wherein all these previously stated things are considered to be cognizable offense, and not only the person who has paid for such advertisements or such marketing action, but the media which carries or displays such advertisements, like people who have raised large signboards or flex boards or standees, or even the newsprint media which carries such advertisements, are also committing the offense by participating in this advertising process. In reality, however, in spite of all this action being a cognizable offense, police would not take cognizance of such advertisements, because after all it is such a huge, lucrative and recurring revenue generating business by these advertisements, and more important to newspapers, television channels, advertising agencies. If you surf through television channels after midnight, you will see all the things happening which are totally contraband and totally cognizable and punishable. So because there is lot of profitability involved in such actions, the disregard to law is continuously happening. But days are not very far when some activists will come up against this and they'll see problems. Therefore, what I would be giving as carry home message through the understanding of the existing rules under the Indian Medical Council Act, the Objectionable Advertisements Act and Drugs and Cosmetics Act is that you please make sure that any information that you are publishing or giving to your marketing team to circulate about your medical services is factual and verifiable. Don't just let your marketing team go and boast in the patient groups that you have done more than 2000 pituitary surgeries or more than 10,000 certain tumor removals. Make only justifiable claims about the quality or outcomes of your services in any information, whether it is printed, whether it is on your website, whether it is through SMSs or emails, so that the quality which you can repeatedly provide is maintainable. And you have read about the instances where now the advocates and the patient relatives come up with your claims on social medias which are contrary to the services that you can provide and the results that you can generate. Also, please be warned that do not guarantee cures, do not exploit patients' vulnerability of fears about their future health, and never raise unrealistic expectations. Never offer indictments or use testimonials of previous patients, because each patient, their demands are different, their healing properties are different. Never make unfair or inaccurate comparisons between your services and those of colleagues and fall in trap. So these I feel would be good directives that can maintain your marketing services within the purview of existing rules of Medical Council of India. You are aware that there are several laws, acts, rules that govern our activities as nursing home owners or healthcare establishment owners. Why fall into trap of over enthusiastic marketing and create problems? There is very thin line between ethical and non-ethical marketing. You would never know when you have already crossed the existing laws, and then suddenly after few weeks, months or years you fall in the trap which you yourself have laid down. So be morally committed to the profession and maintain highest ethical practice even in taking up marketing activities of your cosmetic, aesthetic and plastic surgery services. Thank you very much for your patient listening.